He's got a giant smirk on his face. This is a trial, and this man is like laughing. He's like enjoying himself. He's having a good time. He is so uncomfortable. He can barely hold it together. His face completely, he can't maintain anymore. The eyebrows never lie. This frame right here, frame it, put jail bars over it. That is the hallmark of someone knows I am going to jail, aren't I? We're done here. Oh!
Right. Come on,
oh my
redirect.
God! Oh, that is the most beautiful ending I've ever seen to a cross. We're done here. Well, hello everybody, and welcome back to your favorite show on the internet, Raw Law Unfiltered, with your favorite host of all time, the DUI Guy. Plus, today we are actually going to do an in-depth dive into the analysis of the cross-examination of Matthew McCabe in the Karen Read murder trial. Now, for those of you who don't know, Matthew McCabe was one of the people who was actually in the house when John O'Keefe was murdered. Now, the allegation is that John never went into the house, although we have had at least two witnesses, Allie McCabe, and I believe there was one more that now escapes me, who have already said that John O'Keefe was in the house. How they're going to square that away with he wasn't in the house, that's beyond me. So they've been trying to bend over backwards to try and keep him out of the house. Let's dive right in, shall we? This is day 14 of the Karen Read jury trial. Matthew McCabe's direct examination just finished, and enter David Yannetti on cross-examination.
But if a kid had already leaked it the day before or that day, but first I heard it from John.
All right. But it was clear to you that it was really important to John O'Keefe that Kaylee get into Bishop Fien and go there, correct?
They applied. He was excited for her to go there.
And it was clear that he believed it was an achievement for her, correct?
Yes.
And you could glean also that John O'Keefe felt like it was an achievement for him as well, correct?
Objection, Your Honor.
Did you glean that from him?
He was happy that she got in. I don't know what if he felt it was his achievement. He was happy for Kaylee.
Of course.
You can see that Matthew McCabe is really rattled. He's got a giant smirk on his face. This is a murder trial, and this man is like laughing. He's like enjoying himself. He's having a good time. I don't understand it. I mean, I understand. Some people when they are nervous, they kind of get a little, jumpy and maybe laughing a little bit. But this is a murder trial. This is completely uncalled for. This is his dead friend of 7 years that they're talking about. It makes no sense, this behavior.
He was doing right by his sister's daughter, correct?
I don't know what that means. I can go to any school and do right.
All right. In any case, everything seemed good that night.
Everything was good.
There were no arguments.
There were no arguments that I saw.
John was drinking beer.
In my recollection, yes.
And you had previously testified that you saw Karen was drinking some type of clear liquid that you assumed was some type of vodka, correct?
That is correct.
But you didn't think that they were drinking much, correct?
At the waterfall? No, they were only there for an hour. So.
Right. And they got there around 11, correct?
Give or take, yep, 11-ish.
And that bar is pretty strict about last call, correct?
That is correct.
And you spoke with both of them during the course of the night, correct?
Yes.
Neither John nor Karen was intoxicated in your view, correct?
Objection.
Can you answer that?
They were drinking. I don't know what the guideline of intoxication is, but they were drinking.
Do you recall testifying before the grand jury regarding this matter on April 26th of 2022?
So right here, David Yannetti begins the dissection. Do you remember testifying at a grand jury about this? What does that mean? That means that Matthew McCabe previously has testified about something relating to this exact topic, and David Yannetti is asking him the same question that he was asked a few months prior here today again on May 17th, 2024. That is called impeaching a witness by a prior inconsistent statement. Okay, Watch it unfold. He's taking a statement that Matthew McCabe made previously and comparing it with the statement he made in court today.
If you have that, then I must have, I don't recall my questions, that question specific, but yes.
Right, well, I didn't ask you about the questions. I just asked if you recall testifying before the grand jury on that date.
I don't remember the date. I recall testifying before the grand jury.
Oh, if I suggested to you that it was April 26th of 2022, would you quarrel with that?
That was, no, did you say would I quarrel?
Yeah,
No, it was definitely around that time.
okay. And at that grand jury presentation, Mr. Lally was there, correct?
Yes.
None of the defense team was there, correct?
No.
Karen Reed was not there, correct?
No.
And there was no judge there, correct?
No.
And April 26th was approximately 3 months after January 29th of 2022.
Yes.
Is it fair to say that your memory about whether or not John and or Karen was intoxicated would have been better on April 26th of 2022 than it would be today?
May we approach, Your Honor?
All right, I'll see you in 10 minutes.
Okay, so
Jerry's
Lally is
fine.
clearly uncomfortable with this line of questioning. So he's calling for a sidebar, probably to say that, look, if he has an inconsistent statement, he's more than welcome to impeach him. But calling that his memory was better, which I think is a 100% valid question and absolutely okay, is nothing wrong with it. But Lally doesn't like it. He knows it's hurting his case. But folks, this is only the beginning. Buckle up, Buttercup, because it's about to get nasty. So now they're back from the sidebar. David
I had
Yannetti is
just
going to
asked
resume
you if-
questions.
I had just asked you if your memory of your observations.
Notice how he's going right back. David Yannetti is going right back to the original question. What does that mean? That means he won the objection. Lally objected and Lally lost, meaning the objection was overruled. That's how you know, because he went right back to where he was, kind of like a bookmark.
Of Karen Reed and John O'Keefe from January 29th would have been better on April 26th of 2022 than it would be today.
Yes, I think that's fair to say.
And that's because your memory doesn't get better over time, correct?
I don't know. I would say it's fair to say, yes, my memory would be better that day.
And on that day, you were asked by Mr. Lally, quote, did either of them strike that? I'm going to go back to the previous sentence just to put it in context.
Yes.
The previous sentence was from Mr. Lally. Obviously, you've had social occasions with Mr. O'Keefe and Ms. Reed before, correct? And your answer was,
Notice
"Oh,
how
yes."
uncomfortable he's getting. Notice the heavy breathing. Notice the sigh, the uncomfortable posture, the pursing of the lips. Exhaling through the nose. These are all signs of extreme discomfort. He knows he's on the ropes. Matthew McCabe knows he's on the ropes.
Right?
Objection, Your Honor.
And look at the hopeful gleam of Lally is going to rescue me. Watch.
I'm gonna let that one go.
Oh, I'm going to let that one go. Oh, crap. Judge is not going to rescue me. All right, here we go. Brace yourself, Matthew.
My answer is yes. I had previous. I don't know if I said, oh, yes, but my answer was yes. Of
Okay.
course, I had
And
previous relationships with them.
I'm sorry, I cut you off, sir. I don't.
I'm saying, of course, I had previous relationships with them.
And the question that I wanted to direct you to, just to put it in context, was did either of them, speaking about John and Karen, on this particular evening seem sort of overly intoxicated to you? Do you recall that question?
I don't recall the specific question, but that's the question.
And your answer was no to that?
Yes, if that's my answer, then it was no.
In terms of whether you can confirm that that was the question and answer, if I showed you the transcript, would that refresh your memory?
Yes, of course it would.
This is 2103 lines
Just
13 to 15 for counsel. And I didn't ask permission, Your Honor, I'm sorry.
Did either of them? Thank you.
having reviewed that transcript, did I get the question and answer correct?
Yes, you did.
Boom. That shows a prior inconsistent statement. You previously testified that neither of them looked intoxicated, but today he answered differently, if you remember. Go back in the video if you missed that.
Did you see Brian Albert and Brian Higgins practicing fighting at the waterfall?
Practicing fighting?
Right. Did you see them kind of square up in a fighting stance to each other?
I recall them grabbing each other. I don't recall them squaring up like they were fighting each other. No, they were playing a little grab ass with each other. I did see them grab each other. I don't recall a physical,
What?
hey, let's go duke it out. I do not recall that.
Okay. So
Okay, who over the age of 7 says grab ass? What is wrong with this guy?
are you saying, taking you literally, that they grabbed each other's asses? Is that it?
No, I'm saying grab ass. It's a figure of speech.
Okay. But
How old are you, sir?
what they didn't grab each other. They were in a fighting stance, weren't they? Didn't they crouch down low with each other?
I'm telling you, I don't recall seeing them crouching in a fighting stance. I recall someone grabbing somebody.
It's on video. How do you not review the video before the trial?
I don't remember who grabbed who. I just recall like a bear hug or something. I thought I recall them doing a bear hug.
All right. So you recall them, one of them getting behind the other one and kind of restraining them or grabbing them?
I think there was a bear hug. Yeah, that's what's in my memory. I don't.
And you would agree with me that after closing time, Brian Albert and Brian Higgins were two of the people who went back to 34 Fairview Road, the Albert home, correct?
Yes, that's correct.
But before everyone left, before you left, it was announced around the table that everyone was welcome back at Brian Albert and Nicole Albert's house, correct?
Yes.
Here's another absolute zinger by David Yannetti. Watch this part.
To the right of the house would be the second time I saw the SUV. I've always stated the SUV was in front of the house if looking out the front door.
Okay, so when you so you deny telling Michael Proctor that when you first saw the SUV, by the way, sir, is this funny? I'm sorry.
This is not funny, sir. Not.
Look at how uncomfortable he is. Look at how uncomfortable David Yannetti is making Matthew McCabe. Is this funny to you, sir? He just keeps smiling. He just keeps smirking for no reason, unprompted. Listen to this.
So you deny telling Michael Proctor that when you first saw the SUV, by the way, sir, is this funny? I'm sorry.
This is not funny, sir. Not at all. It's been 2 years of misery.
Okay. You're smiling now. That's why I asked.
You keep repeating the same question.
Well, I'm trying to get an answer that you won't give me, sir. When you talked to Michael Proctor on January...
You're not giving me an answer, sir. And he just smiles at like, this is great. I'm having a great time. This is insane. These people are absolute buffoons. They're psychopaths. One more psychopathic than the last.
January 29th of 2022, when you first observed the big dark SUV, you said to him it was parked to the right of the house.
Objection.
This is the last time on that question. Is that right?
That is not right. The SUV, the first time was in front of the house, coming out the front door. The second time was to the right of the house.
All right.
You have to move on.
Gotcha. Okay. All right. So you did not say that. But you did say that you were making those observations from the front door, correct?
As I stated yesterday, I recall.
That's a yes or no question. I'm sorry.
Objection, Your Honor.
Can you answer it yes or no?
I can't. I said yesterday, it's either I looked out the window and I looked out the front door. I don't remember which order.
Well, you told Michael Proctor that the first time you looked out, it was out the front door. Did you not?
I don't recall what I told Michael Proctor on April.
You don't recall. May I approach, Your Honor?
Yes.
Again,
Page 2 of Proctor's report, counsel.
So next time, just.
this is called another
I'm sorry.
impeachment by prior inconsistent
Read the
statement.
first.
Because when you tell the truth, You don't have to keep remembering what you said previously. But when you testify inconsistently, that shows that more likely than not, you have not been honest with your testimony because you can't keep your facts straight because you don't remember which lie you told when. Lies are a whole lot more difficult to keep track of than the truth. Much more difficult, unless you're a complete sociopath. Thank goodness none of these people are at that level. Although, who knows?
Sentences of that second paragraph.
Second paragraph.
May I approach?
Yes.
You had said that you don't remember what you told Michael Proctor. Did that report refresh your memory?
I'm not saying I don't remember what I told Michael Proctor.
Well, hold
I'm
on.
stating what I remember.
He's so rattled.
You just told this jury that you don't remember what you told Michael Proctor. Those were your words.
Yes, at the point I'm reading, I don't remember the exact wording, but I know what I told Michael Proctor.
Because you're lying, sir.
And you told Michael Proctor that you observed a big dark SUV parked to the right of the house. Did you not?
At some point in the conversation, yes, I told Michael Proctor that a big dark SUV moved to the right of the house.
Moved to the right of the house? Is that what you just said?
All right, let me rephrase.
Ah,
At some point, there was a big dark SUV parked in front of the right of the house. I physically didn't see it move, so I need to rephrase. I can't say move.
so now it didn't move, but you just testified that it did move, even though you told Michael Proctor you didn't see it move. You just saw it in one location and another location. That's another gotcha.
What I'm concentrating on now, sir, is not what your memory is today or what you testified to the jury today. I'm concentrating on what you told Michael Proctor that very day on January 29th, 2022. Okay? And you initially told him that it was parked to the right of the house, the big dark SUV, and that you made those observations from the front door. And then you stated you looked out the front window and
Objection, Your Honor.
observed the same big dark SUV had moved to the other side of the property.
So
Correct?
the objection sustained, you have to break that down, and I thought we moved on from this, Mr. Chairman.
No, we haven't gotten to the second part of the.
So bring the document, I'll see it sidebar.
Again, the judge wants a sidebar because she does not want this in. She wants to focus on Karen Reed, whereas the defense wants to focus on the real murderers. One of them, who helped cover it up, or maybe he's complicit, is sitting and we're looking at him right now.
One last question on this, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, with regard to Trooper Proctor's report that you have in front of you, right? It's II for identification.
Yes, I'm reading the
You will agree with me that you reported your conversation as saying that the vehicle was first to the right and then moved to the other side of the property, correct?
Objection.
Sustained.
You testified before the grand jury regarding this issue on April 26th of 2022, did you not?
Yes, I did.
And you talked about the vehicle moving from point A to point B, correct?
Yes, at some point.
And you estimated that it was 15 to 20 feet or so that the SUV moved along the property line, correct?
Yes, again, I don't know the exact distance, but estimates.
And you, at that point in time, you were asked to clarify what you had meant when you said that the vehicle was first on the right side of the property. Do you recall that testimony?
I do not.
Do you recall that Mr. Lally asked you, to the right would have been toward the driveway side of the property, and that you answered that's correct?
I don't remember the conversation. And again, to the right, looking at the house, or to the right, looking out of the house?
Well, that's what I'm talking about. To the right, looking at the house would be toward the driveway. Correct?
To the right, looking at the house would be toward the driveway, correct?
And that's your testimony where the vehicle started out, correct? And then moved toward the flagpole the second time?
The vehicle started in front of the house and moved towards the flagpole, correct? So looking out of the house, it moved towards the right.
Now, excuse me.
Absolute garbage. This guy can't keep his story straight.
You told Michael Proctor that initially it was parked closer to the driveway or the mailbox in the days after January 29th.
Ah, here we go. Now we come to the text messages. Look at how cleanly David Yannetti begins gutting this guy. This goon is about to be gutted. Open heart surgery in open court. Watch this.
You participated in a group text exchange with 3 other people. Do you recall that?
Did you see that? He's like, oh shit, it's coming. Watch this again.
3 other people. Do you recall that?
The eyebrows. Oh God. Oh boy. Oh, here it comes. Yeah, I remember that.
Can you name the 3 people?
Sure. You had a group text chat
Watch his
going
face.
with your wife, Jennifer McCabe, your brother-in-law, Brian Albert, and your sister-in-law, Nicole Albert, correct?
Oh, yes.
Oh yes. Oh yes. He's like, oh boy. Oh boy. This is not good. This is not good.
I'd like to ask you some questions about that group text chat, if I might.
Sure.
You would agree with me that on February 1st of 2022, that was 3 days after John O'Keefe passed away, correct?
Yes.
And at some point on February,
Look at his body language. I mean, he's just so uncomfortable. He is so uncomfortable. He can barely hold it together. His face completely is just, he can't maintain anymore. He's been able to maintain thus far, excuse me. And now he's just falling apart. Watch.
February 1st of 2022, you were physically either at or near the Albert home at 34 Fairview in Canton, correct?
I could have been. I don't recall if I was there.
Notice the voice cracking, the shaking of the head, the realization that doom is impending.
Do you recall watching what investigators were doing in the neighborhood on February 1st?
He was spying on them.
I do not. If you could show it to me, I could maybe
He wants to see
reflect
it.
my memory. I do not
'Cause
recall.
he knows
that
it's over.
specific day.
You don't recall monitoring what troopers were doing? In
I
the
was not
neighborhood?
monitoring anything.
Notice the combative language. He's not even waiting for the question to be answered. I was not monitoring because he was. You're about to see.
That the troopers were doing. If I had driven down the street, dropping someone off, picking somebody up, and saw the troopers, then I saw the troopers. I was not monitoring anything.
Directing your attention to 1:34 p.m. and 27 seconds. You texted
He got it down to the second to show the jury that they have evidence that he has.
your wife, Brian Albert, and Nicole Albert, quote, troopers back out front, but in front of Asian house. Did you not?
If I texted that, you could show it to me.
Again, he's like, please show it to me. I want to see it because I know what's coming. I just need to prepare for it. Please give me a piece of that. I don't want to be completely blindsided. I am terrified right now. Look at him leaning in. He's like a little kid. His hand is in the cookie jar and he knows it. And he's trying anything and everything that he can.
May I approach you, Mike?
Yes.
But he knows it's game over.
Oh, 02150.
There's that whelp face stuff. Well, I'm caught. This is not good. What do I do now?
Don't.
I'm sorry.
Attach it?
Oh,
You
show it to.
Show it to
Oh,
Mr.
I'm
Miller
sorry.
and don't.
Yannetti
reference
is so
it.
excited. He forgets he needs to show it to opposing counsel first. I would be the same in his shoes, trust me. Look at his smile. David's smile is just so on point. He knows
Thank you.
it's
I'm showing
about
you
to crumble.
documents,
The
so-
house of cards is coming down, and there's nothing Matthew can do to stop it.
And if you look up or look at it by
Do you have-
yourself and
do
look
you
up at
have
me when you're done.
glasses with you?
I don't use glasses, but I can't see this.
Oh,
maybe
how terrible. You can't see your own text messages? Oh, how terrible, Matthew.
Need glasses.
Um,
I'm making it out. I got it.
I do have a.
Is it a light?
No, he says he doesn't.
No, it's
wear
not.
them.
It's just dark, but I got it.
So your eyesight is not so good, huh? Compare that. I know we kind of skipped over this part of the testimony, but if you watch the trial live, you know that he said that he looked out the window and he saw a vehicle move from point A to point B. So he sees that in the dark, but he can't see a piece of paper that's right in front of him. And he just said he doesn't need glasses, but he's having trouble seeing. Which is it, Matthew? Which one is it? You can't have both.
What the hell? How is that?
What the hell? What the hell? That's not a statement that you expect a witness to say directly on the witness stand. Watch him continue to crumble.
If you're struggling, I do.
I'm reading mine, right? The middle one?
Yeah.
Yeah,
You take
yeah.
all your time, the time.
Yep,
you
I
need.
got it. Yep, I see it.
Okay. If I may just grab that
Yes.
back.
Thank you.
Oh, he's very uncomfortable now, adjusting his tie, putting his arm on the body language is so telling. Look at him.
Having reviewed that document, is your memory refreshed?
I see that I texted what you said I texted. The
Okay.
troopers were outside of the house, yes.
Right, that's my question. This is a page that contains the group text that you had with Jen McCabe, Brian Albert, and Nicole Albert, correct?
Yes,
And in terms of the question that I asked you, you now acknowledge that you testified troopers back out front, but in front of Asian House, correct?
that's correct.
Mr. McCabe, what is an Asian house?
The next door neighbors to the Alberts were Asian.
So you mean that a family of Asian origin lived next door?
Yes,
They were the next door neighbors to your brother-in-law and sister-in-law?
correct. They lived, if you come out of Fairview, they lived to the right of the Alberts.
And
Now, the reason David Yannetti brought that into the record, he's not really trying to paint Matthew McCabe as a racist, is he? Not exactly. He's trying to show that Matthew kind of has a little bit of an edgy, maybe partially uncultured tendency. But most importantly, there are several jurors of Asian descent on this jury. Not a good look, Mr. Matthew McCabe. Not a good look, Matthew.
did you know their last name was the Chungs?
I had no idea that I've never met them. I don't know their last names. I just knew it was an Asian family next door.
And these are your neighbors, by the way. You don't know your own neighbors? Is it because they're Asian? I don't know. But he just testified he has no idea who lives there other than the fact that they know that they're Asian.
And you didn't feel the need to ask their names or try to call them by their names?
I've never
Objection.
met them, sorry.
Objections sustained. You know what, Ms. Giannetti, let's come to sidebar, please.
The judge really doesn't like this line of questioning because it's really hurting the prosecution's case. But I think it's highly relevant to show the kind of character Matthew McCabe is.
When you did tell the group chat about the troopers being at that house, nobody asked you to clarify which house you were talking about, correct?
Objection.
I'll allow that.
Did it happen or
Did
not?
anyone ask you to clarify?
Nobody asked me to clarify.
Because
that I
everybody
recall.
knew.
In fact, Brian Albert responded with just a question right now. Do you recall that?
Yes, I think that was on the screen you just showed me.
And you responded yes, correct?
Did I get to see all the text or no?
And there is the admission that you are monitoring. Remember David's original question. You were monitoring the troopers' activities, were you not? No, of course not. Well, it's just been proven that you have. The troopers are now in front of Asian House. You know, leaving all the racist remarks aside. He's watching where they are, where they're going, what they're doing. This is 3 days after John O'Keefe's murder. This is huge, huge for Karen. Innocent people don't monitor police
With
activity.
permission,
Yes.
I'm going to give you the previous page in case you need it.
Just give it to him.
I'm sorry.
Thank you.
The judge is getting so angry. I love it. I love it.
I'll
Just
give
give
you
it to
one.
her.
If you need the other, just let me know.
No problem. Thank you.
And again, just look at it silently to yourself and look up at me when you're done.
So am I to assume where you said Brian Albert said right now?
Yeah, would you like to see that?
So would that be the last one and then this is the next one?
What you,
I'm just making sure.
I understand, I appreciate that. You tell me,
Okay,
if with the court's permission.
Sure.
thank you. Yep, that's what I was just looking for.
If I may collect the document.
I didn't read the rest of it.
No, take your time, please.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
So uncomfortable.
You would agree with me that after you told the group in this group text that the troopers were back out front, in front of that house, Brian Albert's response was, right now?
Yes,
And then you said yes, correct?
yes,
And then Brian Albert replied, okay, correct?
Objection, Your Honor. As of the reading,
Is that how he replied?
that's what it just said, yes.
All right. You texted the group that you were trying to get a picture of what you were seeing, correct?
A photo of the
I didn't see that on
scene?
the text.
And you don't deny that you said that in the text,
Can you
correct?
show me the text, please?
You just saw it. You need to see it
You
again?
didn't see it in the
I didn't
text?
see that,
I'm
no.
sorry.
Oh, you missed that part. Okay, go ahead. Read it. Read it again, Buster. This is so good. It's like watching open heart
Yes.
surgery live. This is the kind of stuff we live for, folks. The real criminal is getting exposed. Everybody loves a piece of this action. He is so, oh my God, look at that body language, the nervous
Have you
picking
shown
at
those
his
both to Mr.
ear,
Lally?
his mouth. Like, that's just the attempt to, like, I don't want to say anymore. Please stop. Please just stop it. I can't. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. You know.
I'm showing you 2 pages.
Okay,
Again, read it to yourself and look up at me when you're done.
That is not the hallmark of a confident individual. I think we can all agree on
Do you
that.
have a phone with a flashlight on you?
I don't have a phone on me. If you have a flashlight, I'll be able to see it.
Do you mind? Oh,
Just
Nancy.
dark.
Madam Court Reporter, Mr. Clerk. Oh, okay.
Even the judge has similar body language. Look at that.
Thank you very much.
Covering her face, just
All right, much better.
shaking her head, going, oh my God. This is all over, isn't it? But we're not there yet. We still have a enormous gotcha moment coming at the end of this video. It's a juicy one, folks.
I got it now.
grab that from you.
Thanks.
Having reviewed that, do you acknowledge that you texted the group that you were trying to get a picture of what you were seeing?
Yes, I said I was going to try to take a photo.
Um,
And just remember what they're talking about. The police investigating John O'Keefe's murder 3 days after his death are in front of a house where Asians live, or as he called it, the Asian house. And he is reporting to Brian Albert, Nicole Albert, and Jennifer McCabe, his wife, the 4 people in the group chat, including him, the 4th one, what the troopers are doing, where they are, and what they're up to, and that he's about to take a photo of the police activity. If that doesn't scream guilty, I don't know what does.
You would agree with me that you were watching what was going on, correct, on February 1st?
No, I just happened to be driving through the neighborhood.
Oh, I
at
just
that
happened to
moment.
be there. Oh, what a coincidence.
So you happen to be driving through, and then you texted the group to tell them what you saw, correct?
Yes.
And then you didn't just keep driving up the road and leave the area, did you?
I think I did.
Well,
Unless you tell me I went back, I think I did. I said I was going to try to take a picture.
right, well, that's my point.
Yeah.
You weren't, just having seen the troopers back out there at that house, in your mind, you still weren't done, correct?
I was going to take a picture to show them, oh, the troopers are outside your house.
Right, so in answer to my question, you weren't done with that scene, correct?
I think I was, because I don't know if I took a picture.
Well,
I think I went through. I mentioned I was going to try to take a picture. I don't know if I took a picture or not.
you didn't intend to be done at that point, correct?
I didn't intend to be done.
Right, because you wanted to take a picture of what was going on.
I was going to take a picture to show them that troopers were outside in front of the
Right,
house.
you wanted to
Correct.
continue to monitor what was going on, did you not?
I was not
Boom.
monitoring what was going on. I just happened to drive by at that moment.
May we be seen at sidebar?
That's absolutely beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. You were there to continue monitoring them, weren't you? No, I was not. Cat's out of the bag, buddy. The cat is out of the bag.
All right, Ms. Giannetti.
Thank you, Ron. Ms. McCabe, I'm going to approach this in a little bit of a different way to hopefully make it easier on you and me and the jury. I'd like to hand you, with the court's permission, the 4 pages that you've already reviewed, just to have you identify them. If I may, please.
Sure.
Thank you.
And I'd just like you to take a look at them and just confirm that's what you've already seen before we took the break.
It's about to get interesting, folks. It's about to get. Really
Yes, these are the ones you showed me earlier.
Thank you, sir. May I approach?
Yes.
Keep watching.
Having reviewed those, sir, does this appear to be an accurate transcription of the sequence and the content of the group text chat within that time frame?
Yes.
I would offer that, Your Honor.
All right, the only concern I have is I don't want to give the jury something they need a flashlight to read.
Well, my next.
So can I see it?
Of course.
Look at how happy he is. He's like, oh, maybe they won't be able to read it. But that would be nice. If they can't see it, then they won't know the kind of crap that I wrote. Ugh, despicable. Here we go, folks.
How is your distance vision? Are you able to read what's on the screen?
I don't know why it's on blue. This is. Can I have them in front of me while
Can I
you're?
have that?
The reason they're blue, Matthew, is because this is the FBI extraction from your phone. That's why they're blue.
Thank
Displaying
you.
them,
Yes.
please? Thank you very much.
And feel free to use the flashlight there.
Yes, thank you. Oh, yeah, that's much better.
Much better. Okay,
Yes.
now we can all see it. With regard to your initial text exchange that we talked about, can you confirm what you texted at 1:34 and 27 seconds in the afternoon of February 1st, 2022?
Yes. You want me to?
Yeah.
Oh, troop is back out front, but in front of Agent House. Looks like more has been dug up there for at least, there or at least looks like it.
Oh, and Mr. Bates, if you go down the page to see the responses. And who was it that responded to your notification that the troopers were back out front?
That would be Brian Albert.
Brian Albert Senior.
Yeah, yep, see,
And his response was,
right now.
and that was at 1:34 PM and 45 seconds.
Yes, it was.
And you took that to be a question, correct?
Yeah, asking right now, yes.
And we can move to the next. Yes, 2151, please. We have walking you, sir. Yes, please. And you responded to Brian by saying what to his question about right now?
I responded, yes,
And that was at 1:34 PM and 56 seconds.
yes.
You would have still been on scene at that time?
I'm not sure if I was still on scene, but I was obviously, if it was in the area, it must have been in the area, correct?
And the next exchange, Mr. Bates?
This is so juicy.
And who responded to you?
Brian Albert again,
And his response was?
okay.
Do you have a memory as to whether or not Brian Albert was on scene at that time or if he was somewhere else?
I don't have a memory of where Brian was at that time.
Given the fact that you're saying troopers are out front and he's asking right now.
I'd assume he's not, I'd assume he's somewhere else, yeah.
And your response to him, or your response to the group, I should say, was what?
I had to pick up a car, so I drove through.
Right, so this is a little further than we talked
Oh,
about.
I know, we're getting to the next.
Judge is getting unhappy.
So take this one down, please.
Oh, I'm getting goosebumps as to what you guys are about to see.
Okay, now we're at 1:35 PM and 16 seconds, Mr. McKay.
Yes, that's correct.
And your text to the group of you, your wife, Brian and Nicole Albert is what?
Trying to get pictures.
All right, and at this point, I've asked the next bubble be displayed, and then I'm gonna skip to the bubble after that, once you see it. The next bubble comes from Brian Albert.
Yes, Brian Albert.
And that's at
Action.
1:35 and 30
Mr. Yannetti, let him,
Okay,
the screen speaks for itself.
What-
If it
what-
doesn't, then the witness.
of course. What time is that at?
1:35, 32.
All right, and his response, does that appear to be a typo?
PK, I'm assuming.
All right, the next bubble after that would be 21:53, please, just off. Okay, And that is from whom?
Brian Albert,
All right. And the time there, are you able to make that out?
does that say 1:35:34 or 1:38:34?
I don't know why the camera panned to
Yeah,
Karen.
If you can't see it, you can't see it. Next.
Sure. And his response was?
I'm gonna see the messages.
Okay,
Does that appear to be correct?
This cameraman is useless.
I'd have to go back and,
Well, the previous one, you
Next,
tested.
next question.
Sure. All right, we can take that off for a minute. I'd like to just go over two more areas of these group chats with you.
Here we go.
You would agree with me that later that same day on February 4th, the four of you, your wife, Brian Albert, Nicole Albert, discussed in that group chat the fact that Michael Proctor was talking to Kerry Roberts over the phone, correct?
Objection, Your Honor.
Sustained.
At 3:01 and 48 seconds, you commented on the interview of Michael Proctor with Kerry Roberts, did you not?
Objection.
Sustained.
May we be seen?
Ah, there it is. The dreaded. Oh my God. Lally knows what's about to happen. The judge knows what's about to happen. David knows what's about to happen. Matthew knows what's about to happen. The only people who don't yet are the jury. Oh my God. It's over. So at this point, David Yannetti is trying to get this text message in because he knows how crucial it is. The judge is fighting him. The prosecutor is fighting him. But David Yannetti, I would imagine if I was in the room, is just, no, I am not letting this one go. This has to come in, judge. This is relevant. This is important. It shows motive on the part of Matthew McCabe to try and cover up a murder that he knows who committed. And it's not Karen Reed.
So I'd like you to not leave the witness in the dark if there's something that he can have.
What I'm going to do now, sir, is to hand you 3 more pages and ask if you can identify those.
Here it comes, folks.
Thank you.
Here come the fireworks. If you had the patience to sit through all of this up until now, you're about to be rewarded significantly. Watch his body language very closely. Look at him as he's reading. He's just, oh my God, he's distancing himself physically because he's like, he can't believe that this is about to be read in open court. This is the last thing that he expected. Look at that. Oh, it's so beautiful. So beautiful. The eyebrows. The eyebrows never lie. Look at that. Just please get this thing away from me. I don't want to see this. I don't want to do this. I don't want to read this. The furrowed eyebrows, the raised eyebrows, the shifting back and forth. He knows the final nail is about to be nailed in his coffin, and there is nothing he can do to stop it. He's even reading it kind of to himself because he knows he's completely helpless.
All right, Mr. McCabe, generally.
He's just trying to delay the inevitable to the point where even the judge is trying to move him along.
Do you recognize those,
Yeah.
sir? All right, so
I
go
just
ahead.
marching it up, yep.
Okay, go ahead, Mr. Yannetti.
The pages that I've handed to you and that you now have in your possession, those
Look at that face. Look at that face. It's oh, you're going to ask me questions about it now? Okay, I'm ready. I'm ready for my close-up. You can't make this stuff up, folks. It's literally, it's the puppy who got caught with his snout in the treat bag.
earlier, correct?
Yes, that's correct.
And
He's
it
petrified. You can tell the petrified look on his face.
appears to have the same sequence and content of the group chat as well.
Yes.
I would offer that one.
Over the Commonwealth's objection, again, I'm not sending anything to the jury that they can't read. So let's mark this for identification.
Oh my God. The nervous body language.
And the
The
subject.
realization right there, this frame right here, frame it, put jail bars over it. That is the hallmark of someone knows I am going to jail, aren't I?
So, Mr. Bates, with regard to page 2160, I'm looking for the second bubble.
Do you have an extra copy for me to follow along? No? Or Jim, was it, Mr. United, was this in what was marked for, you're using that? All right.
I believe we have extra copies here.
Thank you.
All right. And if it's a question by question objection, just,
May that be displayed on?
Fixing
may
his
what
tie.
be displayed?
Well, I just offered that as an exhibit, and I'm asking.
And I did not take it in. I said the content on a question by question, so it's each bubble.
All right. You saw that at 3:01 p.m. and 48 seconds on February 1st that you texted, quote, very weird that she's been barely interviewed. The whole dead comment was just told. I was supposed to have them talk last night and forgot to tell Proctor to call her. Do you recall that?
I recall it, correct.
And those were your words, correct?
Yes, they are.
May that be
The voice cracking is just the icing on top of the cake.
No, it's in. We may display it later, but I'd like to move this testimony along. So that's in evidence.
And then
Judge, whose team are you on? Oh, clearly the prosecution's. She really does not like the jury hearing this. She's trying to downplay its importance. The jury knows this is important.
in that discussion, at 3:03
There's that fearful look again.
p.m. and 15 seconds, it was Brian Albert who texted, quote, hope they don't think she's making it up after the fact for some reason, end quote, correct?
Objection.
I'll allow that.
Can you read the timestamp again?
It's the
Yes,
second
it's on
page.
page 02161.
Oh, I found it.
Yeah,
Yes.
it's in the middle. I got that timestamp correct?
3:03:15.
Correct. And I read that accurately. Hope they don't think she's making it up after the fact.
Yes, that's correct.
And then less than a minute later at 3:05 and 32 seconds, you replied, yes, she was hardly interviewed, and I think just answered what was asked. Oh, I'm sorry, strike that whole question. I skipped his next response, which was at 3:05 and 2 seconds, where he said, but if they barely interviewed her, that's on them, correct?
That's from Brian. Yes, that's correct.
Okay. Now, with regard to that exchange, you would agree with me that you were talking about Kerry Roberts being interviewed by Michael Proctor, correct?
I don't want to make an assumption. Do you have the text previous to this that shows that we're referencing Kerry?
I do, and I'll show you that only to refresh your memory.
Yeah, I don't want to assume something.
I understand. I'm going to show you one page and ask you to look at it silently to yourself.
Okay.
Oh, the fixing of the collar.
The page.
Okay.
You can just look up at me when you're done.
Yeah. Again, my assumption it's Kerry based. Can I go back another page?
Feel free.
Okay, that's what I was looking for.
Yes.
Did those previous pages refresh your memory about the context of your group chat conversation?
Yes, it did.
And certainly it was talking about Kerry Roberts being interviewed, correct?
Yes, it was.
And you were passing along information about that interview to Brian Albert, were you not?
Yes, I was letting him know that Kerry was being interviewed.
Mm-hmm.
And you were telling him things that she was saying, correct? Remember you said the whole dead comment was just told?
Objection, Your Honor.
Yeah, but I-
Sustained.
All right, in any case, we're going to move on to the very last discussion that I'd like to ask you about.
Saving the best for last.
Earlier that day, February 1st of 2022,
Oh,
at
before.
12:50 p.m. and 37 seconds, Brian Albert texted the group, which would have again been his wife Nicole, your wife Jennifer, and you. And that text was,
Objection, Your Honor.
Okay, so I can't, which bubble on which page?
02148.
Right, on which page?
That's the page, 02148.
Look
Okay,
at him,
so-
hopeful, trying to get the judge to rescue him from the final piece that David needs to put this guy away.
I don't have
And
it.
the bubble is the second.
Metaphorically
So
speaking.
I don't have it.
I don't have it.
I don't know what the objection's pertaining to. Jurors, I apologize that this is taking so long.
The judge, okay, this I find disgusting. The judge knows how important it is. The judge knows that the real killers are probably not Karen Reed because there is insufficient evidence to show Karen Reed is the murderer. And she's apologizing to them that David is trying so hard to get this guy to admit deadly stuff, deadly to his reputation and possibly his future as a free man. And she is apologizing to them on behalf of the defense for taking so long. That is disgusting. Matthew's getting a little excited, like maybe we'll get a chance to skip and I'll go home now.
You know what, Mr. Yannetti, why don't you?
That's for the court, Your Honor.
She's so flustered, the judge. She's
So you're objecting to it, so I'm not going to let you say what it is. You can show it to the witness.
Yes, well,
Which one is this?
second bubble. on
she doesn't even
02148.
care. These text messages are devastating to the prosecution. And she's just willy-nilly like, and which one is this? Yeah, okay, all right. Do you understand why I don't like her so much now? She's downplaying some of the most important testimony in this case.
And then the first bubble on 02149. That's all I'll be asking about.
Thank you.
All right, so I won't allow, based on the objection from the Commonwealth, the second bubble on 02148. I will,
And for the record, the second bubble is exactly what David Yannetti is going for, as you're about to see. And the judge is like, nope, not going to allow that.
allow the author of the third bubble
It-
on page 02148.
No. The second bubble on 02148,
Is not allowed into evidence.
I need to be heard on that then.
And he needs to be heard because that is the crucifix right there. Look at Matthew's face. He's just like a, oh.
No, all right, I'll hear you at sidebar.
She is so flustered. She does not want this to come in because that will destroy their case completely. The prosecution's, I mean. Now the jury's back in the room and they're about to hear the final piece.
Mr. McCabe, when we broke, I was just about to ask you about the last exchange here. You will agree with me that on February 1st of 2022 at 12:51 and 49 seconds, you texted the group chat to say, ask Chris to ask some questions, correct?
Yep, I'm reading it right now. Yes, that's correct.
And who was the Chris you were referring to?
That would be Chris Albert.
Brian's brother, correct?
That is correct.
And then you
Here it
then
comes.
texted your wife, Brian Albert, and Nicole Albert, quote, tell them the guy never went in the house, correct?
Tell them the guy never went into the house. Number one, they're just called a dead friend, John O'Keefe, deceased officer, John O'Keefe III. that guy. Tell them the guy never went into the house, trying to get their stories straight, and watch David Yannetti put the final blow and put this guy not just 6, but 60 feet under.
That's part of the same text. Yes,
Mr. McCabe, who was the guy that you were referring to? Does he have a name?
that would be John O'Keefe.
When you told the group to tell them the guy never went in the house, that was you talking
Watch his hand. His hand holding the phone is just shaking, just shaking.
about how you should all get your stories straight, correct?
No,
You would agree with me that your stories are all straight in terms of the guy never went in the house, correct?
Objection.
Can you answer that?
John never went in the house. It's not a story, it's a fact.
The
Well-
voice cracking.
When you said, tell them the guy never went in the house, Brian Albert was on that exchange still, was he not? He was still part of the group text?
Yes, Brian is on the exchange.
And Brian Albert was the one to respond, wasn't he?
Let me switch pages here.
And what did he respond to? Tell
He
them
responded, did he not?
Yes, he.
the guy
And then at that point,
Never
you knew
went in the
Brian
house.
Albert was the oldest brother of the Albert family, correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Tell them the guy never went in the house. And Brian Albert responds,
Oldest sibling in that family, correct?
Yes, that's correct.
wait for it.
And in his response to your instructions that his younger brother, Chris, should say that John O'Keefe never went in the house, or the guy never went in the house, you would agree with me that he responded with one word, correct?
One word.
Yes, he did.
And in response to you saying the guy never went in the house, Brian Albert's response was exactly, correct?
Yes, that's his response.
We're done here.
We're done here. Oh!
Come on,
Oh
can you
my
redirect?
God!
You're on.
Oh, that is the most beautiful ending I've ever seen to a cross. We're done here. Not like, pass the witness, Your Honor, or if you have any questions, Mr. Lally. Boom! Shakalaka! Oh my God, folks. Thank you for joining me on this beautiful dissection of the cross-examination by David Yannetti of Matthew McCabe. Oh my God, you guys. I know it's been a long hour to get to this point, but we're finally got here, and you now understand the bombshells that have been dropped in the Karen Reed case. The people involved, they tried to get their stories straight, that John O'Keefe never get in the house. Don't forget to tell them. Don't forget to tell them John O'Keefe never went into the house. Very important. Oh, folks, I thank you for joining me. I hope you enjoyed it. I thank you for your patience. And God, I have no words. I have no words. This was one of the most beautiful, beautiful cross-examinations I have ever seen. The whole Karen Reed case has just, very rarely does this happen, by the way. With a nuclear bombshell dropped on a case like this is it, folks. This is it. Thanks for joining me. Bye, everybody.